What's up, Hawk fans? I'm going to make this quick. I don't have my phone set up on my tripod and all that. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Cooper DeJean, a.k.a. Cooper DeJean, one of my favorite Hawkeye players of all time. I didn't watch a ton of the Super Bowl. Watched a little bit of it. Saw Cooper DeJean had a pick six, it looks like. And I'm seeing people on X say that he was robbed of being the MVP of the game with his punt return or kick return and punt return results. I mean, you look, Jalen Hurts went 17 to 22, 221 yards, 2 tubs, 1 INT. I had to do a little bit of research. Like I said, I didn't watch it. It's hard for me, just full disclosure, it's hard for me, especially if I don't have a favorite team, to designate, 4 hours or so to watching the whole game. Plus, I've intimated in the past that I think there's other things that people can put their time into. But I don't begrudge people. I don't want to turn this into that. I don't begrudge people who do want to watch sports. I've also said that Clay Travis is somebody who says that sports is the dessert, and your work life and all that stuff is the broccoli and all the garbage that you have to eat for dinner. So I understand people wanting to just chill, relax, and watch the Super Bowl. But the main thing that I wanted to say is it is unbelievable, given the fact. Well, let me take a step back. Cooper DeJean was one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl MVP. There's many people who thought that he should have won the MVP. I'm not surprised. It always goes to the quarterback. NFL's a quarterback league. The only way it's not going to go to the quarterback is if the quarterback plays astoundingly terrible and there's somebody else who plays astoundingly great, which you can definitely make the case that Cooper DeJean did. But, Jalen Hurts didn't have a bad game either. 17-22, 221 yards, 2 tubs, 1 INT. Plus, he had 72 yards on the ground. So I definitely don't begrudge him getting it. But it also helps when you have such a stout defense. I remember in the middle of the season, I watched a video because, periodically being an Iowa Hawkeye fan, and there's probably going to be some Philadelphia Eagle fans that come across this video. Periodically, I will check out how various Iowa players are doing, and one of them that I really wanted to check out was, of course, Cooper DeJean. And he came into the season kind of late because he had an injury. I can't remember how the injury happened. I know, obviously, he had the injury that he was recovering from. It could be the same one that limited him from being able to compete in the NFL Combine or Pro Day. But nonetheless, he returned, and there was a video that I watched that said that was articulating just how great, really, Philadelphia's defense had become, mainly because of Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, the emergence of those two rookie players that, as rookies, were playing, some would argue, at an all-pro level. Going back to the draft, as an Iowa Hawkeye fan, I always do videos detailing which Iowa Hawkeyes got drafted, how many I think will be drafted, and whether guys were snubbed. And I specifically discussed Cooper DeJean, and I specifically said that he was snubbed, and he absolutely was snubbed. And I believe that to this day, that he was snubbed. A lot of it did have to do with the fact that he was a white corner. And then, of course, a lot of it had to do with the fact that he's kind of a bigger corner, muscular, very vascular, and they didn't know whether he was an inside, an outside corner, maybe a safety because of his thickness and size. I mean, he stands at 6'1". So anyways, I reacted to the video saying just that, and that Philadelphia was getting a really good player. a really undervalued player, if that was indeed possible, for a player that most people thought was a first-round draft pick, lock in the first round with, a few discrepancies or reservations here or there. But what NFL draft pick does not, or prospect does not have a few reservations? And I made it abundantly clear that the Eagles were getting a good player. And so I wanted to make this video just to kind of make it a shout out to the Iowa Hawkeyes, of course, to Phil Parker. He did his secondary, took kind of a step back this past year. But man, he really knows how to develop and spot under the radar talent. I don't think it's as hard as maybe some people give it credit for, because at the end of the day in football, especially at certain positions, you're really looking for athleticism, and you're looking for certain physical intangibles. And a lot of times what Phil Parker will do is he'll find guys that maybe basketball is their top sport, or track is their top sport, or something else that is their top sport. But they just started a guy that's a perfect example that's on the current roster is safety Cohen Entringer, who was a soccer first guy. And has this kind of untapped potential at the in football, specifically at the DB position. But of course, it happens at other positions for Iowa as well. But it really happens a lot at the DB position. Now, Cooper DeJean was not, a.k.a. Cooper DeJean, was not like a completely unheralded guy. I mean, 247 Sports, his final ranking was like a 93 or a 92. I mean, he was really extremely highly rated. I just pulled it up. He had a rating of a 94, and he was the third best player in the state of Iowa, if you can believe that. It was a really good year in the state of Iowa for recruiting. He should have been the number one player, but still 94, 4-star. I don't know if he played in the U.S. Army All-American game. I don't think he did. But I digress. The point is that, and all the other recruiting services were way lower on him than 247 Sports. This is a kid that played basketball, ran track, was a multi-sport athlete, and all of us Iowa fans and many other football fans have seen his basketball highlights where he goes up and just yaks it and is dunking all over fools. And this dude just has this unbelievable amount of athleticism. And so I just wanted to make this video to say, like, all Iowa fans knew that that Philadelphia was getting a good one, and that this kid was going to hit. He's a good kid. He's smart. Was a consummate professional at Iowa, really elevated the room, came in, competed, worked hard, came from one of the best defensive coaches, DB coaches in the country, from Phil Parker. And this is not a surprise. I think, what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of people who have jobs in the NFL, just like any industry, that really don't belong. And at times they overthink what is right in front of their face. And in the case of Cooper DeJean, that is absolutely accurate. I don't blame the Philadelphia Eagles, because at the end of the day, they had the courage to take him. Quinyon Mitchell was really good. I thought that there was a good chance that he would be a bust, that Mitchell would be a bust, and Cooper DeJean was going to be the one that was really good. And I was kind of hoping that, low-key, as an Iowa fan. But of course, nothing wrong with both of them being successful and succeeding and having good rookie seasons. So I don't blame the Eagles. They were a little bit higher on Mitchell. They had a little bit more need at the outside corner position. They didn't necessarily see Cooper DeJean as a pure outside corner. But they were still really, really high on him. And they knew how good of a player was falling down into their grasp. And they did everything in their power to get him early in that second round. So I can't remember what, I would have to see what. He was the fourth DB corner taken, and I think he was the 8th player taken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the second round. So just hats off to him for persevering. Again, all Iowa fans knew that he was going to be this good. And this is not a surprise. And this kid is just balling out. And he, knock on wood that he doesn't get any major injury. I know he had the injury at Iowa. But, man, this guy has the potential to be a historically great football player like we're seeing with Tristan Wirfs and Tyler Linderbaum and some of these recent Iowa Hawkeye draftees. So, again, man, all those NFL teams completely swung and missed. Congratulations to the Eagles. It goes to show just how it goes to show, number one, how the NFL, like the point I was making earlier, how many guys really don't deserve the job that they have within the recruiting departments or analysis department, scouting department. Just like any business, there's people who don't deserve to be there. They overthink it. Anybody who has a natural eye for athletics and played sports would look at Cooper DeJean, regardless of all the external nonsense going on, and say, you know what, this guy's going to be a hell of a football player. You need to draft him ASAP. So that's number one. But number two, it just goes to show, like, there's a lot of NFL teams, especially, and I'm not as well versed in the NFL as I am with college football, but there's a lot of teams, especially in the modern era of football, with the salary caps and financial limits, that are just a few solid draft picks away from really, really, really competing for an NFL title. Or being right up there in the playoffs. We saw it with the Detroit Lions and some of their picks. I mean, all you have to do is hit on a few guys coming directly out of the draft where you don't have to pay them a ton right away. You still have to pay them, obviously, a decent amount, but not as much as they would make in their second contract. And you can really do wonders with your NFL roster. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to say that congrats to Cooper DeJean for winning an NFL title. They really smoked the Chiefs, and just wanted to make that video. Man, all those teams absolutely swung and missed on Cooper DeJean. What a mistake that was. All right, guys, last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. I love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.